Welcome, and thank you for joining us. My name is Ann Ramsey, and I'm a business development manager at Fourth. Fourth is a Portland based 501c3 nonprofit organization that advocates for transportation electrification. Over the past decade, we've helped numerous organizations secure funding to support their transportation electrification goals. Today, we're going to talk about funding resources for transportation electrification projects at affordable housing communities and community based organizations. Throughout this recording, we'll go over several different grants, websites, and information sources that we've compiled into a written guide that's linked in our show notes. Some of the funding resources you will want to consider in your projects will be competitive, meaning your application will be considered against other applications for awarding. Other resources to consider are non-competitive, such as rebates and incentives. We'll look at a few examples of both. Let's start with competitive grants. In the Portland, Oregon area, we're fortunate to have two utility companies, Portland General Electric, also known as PGE, and Pacific Power, that have clean fuel credit-based grant programs that support community transportation electrification. Only 4 states in the US have clean fuel credit programs, and Oregon's one of them. Electricity is considered a clean type of fuel. So in states that have clean fuel programs, electric utilities get a credit for producing electricity. Those clean credits must be purchased by producers of less clean fuel, such as gas or diesel. The profits from the sale of those credits make up the funds for PGE's Drive Change Fund and Pacific Power's Electric Mobility Grant and Municipal and Community Grants. In 2024 alone, Oregon's Clean Fuels program generated an estimated $30.9 million. Be sure to check who your utility provider is before applying for a grant. Both PGE and Pacific Power generally only fund applications that are within the respective service areas. PGE's Clean Fuel Grant Program is called Drive Change. Since 2019, the Drive Change Fund has granted millions of dollars to community electrification projects. Some of the projects that have been awarded include the purchase of electric transit buses, passenger vehicles, electric bikes, and more. Eligible projects should fall under at least one of the following categories: battery-powered electric vehicle acquisitions, education and outreach campaigns and programs, EV charging infrastructure installation, other innovative projects that advance transportation electrification. The amount of money that PGE has available for the Drive Change Fund varies year to year, as it depends on the sale of the clean fuel credits. In 2025, PGE funded a total of more than $5.8 million to more than 30 organizations, including Oregon Food Bank, Meals on Wheels People, and the PDX Diaper Bank, to partner on electrification projects. The Drive Change grant cycle usually opens in February each year and closes at the end of March. Awards are announced in September during National Drive Electric Week. Both PGE and Pacific Power have website portals where you will register and fill out an online application. You can download the application questions to work on them offline as well. Before you start working on the application questions, it's a good idea to contact PGE through their Drive Change dedicated email and set up a time to go over your project idea with the grant manager or technical expert. They can tell you whether your project idea will meet their eligibility criteria and can help point out additional considerations. For example, you may want to apply for funds to install electric car charging, also known as EVSE, or electric vehicle service equipment charging. PGE can help you determine if you will need electrical or site upgrades. For projects that will install EVSE, be sure to check both the PGE and Pacific Power web pages that list chargers that are approved to be installed. Selecting an EVSE that's not approved could result in delays or added expense to your project. This November, PGE is holding a special connection event where prospective Drive Change Fund applicants can meet in person with and talk to current and past Drive Change Fund award recipients. PGE has plans to hold more connection events in the future as well. Pacific Power has a very similar grant program that uses the sale of clean fuel credits for its funds. Electric mobility grants are designed to support projects that advance transportation electrification in underserved communities, with a special focus on EVSE installation and the purchase of electric vehicles. In 2025, Pacific Power awarded 925,000 to 11 organizations in Oregon. Applications generally open in late July and close at the end of August. Pacific Power offers free technical assistance for multifamily properties and workplace charging. They will coordinate and schedule a site visit to your property to perform analysis of EVSE technology options, costs, rates, and best practices for siting, configuring, installing, and management of equipment. When it is complete, you will receive a customized report to help you understand your options to get equipment installed. Pacific Power also has the municipal and community grants. Municipal and community grants are designed to support projects that advance transportation electrification in underserved communities, with a specific focus on supporting the incremental costs related to purchasing an electric school bus and establishing micromobility programs in communities to benefit low income individuals. For micromobility projects in the PGE service area, those would fall under the Drive Change Fund. One other type of competitive funding that both Pacific Power and PGE have are grant matching funds. If you've already received a grant for your transportation electrification project, grant matching funds are designed to help offset additional or unforeseen project costs. The Portland Clean Energy Community Benefits Fund. Another source of funding for transportation electrification projects within the city of Portland is the Portland Clean Energy Community Benefits Fund, also known as PCEF. PCEF is funded through a 1% surcharge on the Portland sales of large retailers with $1 billion in national revenue and $500,000 in local revenue. The first cycle of PCEF community grants was in 2020, and since then, nearly $202 million has been given out to communities. In 2024, the PCEF Benefits Fund awarded approximately 71 grants totaling nearly $92 million. PCEF invests in projects and programs that meet the following priorities: clean energy projects, including renewable energy and energy efficiency, transportation decarbonization projects, regenerative agriculture and green infrastructure projects, and climate action-related workforce development and contractor support programs. One thing that's different about PCEF community grants is that they have two different types you can choose from: planning and implementation. Whereas the PGE Drive Change Fund and Pacific Power e-mobility grants are for what we call shovel-ready projects, or projects where you can start putting in EVSE or purchasing EVs right away. Planning grants help fund activities such as research, feasibility assessments, community outreach, and partnership building in preparation for a potential project. PCEF also uses a portal for their application process called Web Grants. One really great resource that PCEF has is an online database of previous applications that PCEF has received. In the database, you can filter by planning or implementation, by the subcategory, and many more options. This is really an invaluable tool for applicants to gain insight into the kind of projects PCEF will fund, and also how the successful applicants have prepared their application. For people who do not write grants on a regular basis, it can seem really daunting to tackle a grant or several grants at once. Reading previous applications can help you get a good feel of a good writing style and can provide some guidance and inspiration. Whereas PGE and Pacific Power usually have their application deadlines close to the same time every year, PCEF funding cycles don't follow a regular calendar schedule each year. The best thing to do to stay up to date on important application dates is to sign up for PCEF's newsletter. Before we get into talking about some of the non-competitive rebates and incentives available, I want to go over one very important concept that you should be aware of when looking at any funding options. And this is the requirement of match or cost share. Match and cost share are parts of a project that you as the applicant will be responsible for providing. For example, a grant may have a 10% match requirement. Grant awardees will need to contribute funding in the amount of 10% of the total project budget. Most of the grants that we talk about in this recording have very low or no match or cost share requirements. However, with any grant funding you are looking at applying to, be sure to check this requirement first so that you're not surprised with a cost that you didn't expect. Rebates. So I want to talk a little bit now about another source of funding for your projects, which is rebates and incentives that are offered by both state and utilities. The grants we've talked about up till now, Drive Change, e-mobility, are all competitive funding opportunities. This means that while you may put together an amazing and outstanding application, all your research done, every element considered, you still may not receive funding if there is a large number of applicants and not enough funds available for all the projects. For each of these particular grants we've covered, there are committees, usually independent third-party companies, that will evaluate and score your application. And in some cases, they'll contact you to answer or clarify additional questions about your project. Rebates and incentives, however, are not competitive. As long as your purchase or project has met the requirements of the rebate and there's funds available, then you should receive payment. Let's walk through some of the rebates and incentives that are currently available. As many of you may already know, the federal EV tax rebates went away on October 1st this year. However, there are still Oregon state rebates available. Oregon drivers can receive up to $7,500 in rebates from the Oregon Clean Vehicle Rebate Program. Oregon offers a rebate of up to $2,500 for new all-electric plug-in hybrid vehicles and up to an additional $5,000 for mid to low income drivers to buy new or used electric vehicles. The standard rebate of up to $2,500 applies to the purchase or lease of a new battery electric or plug-in hybrid vehicle from a dealer with a base MSRP of $50,000 or less. The charge ahead rebate provides up to $5,000 off the purchase of a new or used electric or plug-in hybrid car from a dealer with an original MSRP of under $50,000 for qualifying buyers based on income. There's an income calculator on the Oregon DEQ website where you can see if you may qualify. The PGE EVSE rebate. PGE provides income-eligible Level 2 EVSE rebates of at least $300 and up to $6,000 for homeowners and $2,300 per port for multifamily properties. Pacific Power offers up to $1,500 for home charging equipment, up to $4,500 per port for multifamily properties, and up to $1,000 per port for businesses in Oregon. One important thing to note is that if you are applying for a charger rebate in the fall of 2025, you need to have the application in by December 1st, 2025. For future charger rebate applications, be sure to check the Pacific Power Charger Rebate webpage in case there's any changes to the program. ODOT community charging rebates. The Oregon Department of Transportation offers a community charging rebate for level 2 charging station projects at multifamily homes, workplaces, and publicly accessible parking areas throughout Oregon. The rebates range from $3,500 to $6,250 per charging port, or up to 75% of eligible project costs, whichever is less. Eligible businesses, nonprofits, public entities, tribes, EV service providers, and owners of multifamily home complexes may apply. State dollars are used to fund the program, and 70% of program funding is reserved for projects in rural and underserved areas of the state. As of 2025, the program has funded more than 100 projects throughout the state. The Community Charging Rebates Program Round 4 opens on November 6, 2025. ODOT has contracted with Forth to provide technical assistance and support to applicants on their journey to installing EV charging. Whether you need basic information about installing and maintaining EV charging stations or assistance with submitting a rebate application, Forth is here to help. We've covered a ton of ground today, discussing all kinds of funding resources, from competitive to non-competitive grants, EV rebates and EVSE rebates, planning and implementation grants. It's a lot to digest. Please be sure to check out our funding guide linked in the show notes for information on grant cycle times, newsletters, websites, email addresses, and more. Also, please feel free to email me directly with any questions, and I'll be happy to help you with those. Thank you again for joining us today. This recording has been made possible through funding entirely by the City of Portland Clean Energy Community Benefits Fund.